Hey guys, I'm Sam with Scrappy Industries. Welcome back to the Talbert series. Now, in the last video on the Talbert, you remember we painted the beam insert and the neck itself, but we were still in progress on the deck insert. And when we bought this trailer, we didn't realize how bad the deck was, and we ended up finding, after we had it flipped up, pressure washed everything out, that some of the cross members were in very bad shape on the deck insert. Some of them had holes rotted all the way through, other damage, and we're like, oh, we'll fix it. And basically, as we took it apart, it got deeper and deeper. Rich did pretty much all the disassembly on that deck, did a very nice job with the torch, air arc, cut all the cross members out of the original beams. But now we have to put it back together, and that's what this video is all about. Let's build a Talbert deck insert. Alright guys, work continues on the deck insert here on the Talbert. Today we got to cut off the front of the side C channel and get it blasted and in primer. That's my goal. We got some other parts we need to prime as well. Carboline hooked us up with some weld through zinc primer now. It's Carbo Weld 11 versus the Carbo Zinc 859. So this should be a little bit better for our application. Doing a little rainy day relocation on the deck. Over to the C can. Rich will have a roof over his head. Well, we were just looking at how to change this beam out because it is pretty bad. Originally we weren't gonna, but it saves all the cleanup out here if we do get it out of the way. So we're gonna wait until we can put that beam in and kind of support the front, and then probably weld on some temporary bracing up here to also support it. Even this, Rich, I don't know that we shouldn't just cut that out and redo it. I mean, literally, you could just cut that and we put a new piece in there.
We're gonna brace it, so.
Oh, this guy's not feeling so hot either. Man.
No.
Oh, that's all cracked out. Look, that whole thing is disconnected.
Yeah.
Man.
Put some heat to it.
That front is bad.
Yeah, it's cracked all the way.
I think we ought to, I guess I would get this all out of there and maybe cut this plate, maybe if you just cut it in half, okay, and we'll just weld on a new piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that, because you wouldn't even have to cut this off. Just cut this out.
Cut it off.
Just cut that off.
Hit this.
Cut that off.
Shoot that out.
There'll just be nothing left here by the time we're all said and done.
That's what I was thinking.
Should have just built a new one. Like at this point, we literally could have started over. I think it would have been less work.
Live and you learn.
Yep, next time. Rich has been doing some kind of final cleanup work, I guess you'd say. Getting everything all out of there, all those gussets and everything. Then next, I'm gonna fire up the Sandblaster and just gonna blast all the frame rails here, all the new cross members, get all that mill scale off of them. That way this one will go in there and get welded in place, and then this guy can get cut out of the way. The new steel is on order that goes in here. I got 3/4 inch, the old web was 1/2 inch, so we got 3/4 inch thick A514 steel for that. So you can see how bad this I-beam was. We were trying to keep this one, but you know, kind of in tune with everything we've been doing on this project, it's gonna come out of there as well. So I got new gussets, all this stuff will come out of there. We'll just cut this, basically cut out the beam out of the web, and that new piece of web is going to come all the way up into here. And it's 3/4 instead of half, so we'll be able to weld on each side. Have that 1/8 inch to weld on, and then we'll weld the new gussets back in there to help it. These are here. A lot of stress is pushed through these by the neck pushing right here, so it helps support that flange. So these are very important. I'm not sure if I said this yet, but after I ordered this 514, it comes out to about $2 a pound is like the burnout price on that. And what that works out to, just to make 2 new rails, if we would have just ordered all the steel and made our own new rails, it'd been about $6,000 in steel. Kind of wish we would have done that. We'd have saved all the man hours of cutting this apart and just had all brand new steel. So we could have burned it out just like they did, made all brand new deck insert for, like I said, $6,000 of extra steel we could have bought. Next time we'll do that. Just build a new deck. Your lid came open, Rich. That's no good. You're making all kind of progress. Rich has been blasting away here. That's all he's really got left is the other side yet. So I was thinking if we sprayed before we get all the crossmembers in, obviously we got to put these ones in, but if we can have that weld through zinc primer, then we'd have that, because this isn't going to be covered here.
No.
If we don't paint that now.
It's gonna end up like it was before.
Right, and same thing with the bottom of the crossmembers. So I was thinking maybe even just to get this one in there, if we just took that black rattle can and just rattle can the crap out of that spot at the flange in the bottom of the crossmember right there, just so there's something on it.
I think it'll work.
And then this weekend I should have that, because you just put it on super thin, I guess, like 1 mil.
Okay.
And just hit it, like dust it. And it's like a construction primer. It says it's the same as welding the steel.
Okay.
So that way everything would be protected from starting to rust sitting out here too.
Layer of scale again on there.
Right.
Eat away.
So I think let's slip that guy out.
Okay. I'm
And
gonna write down measurements though.
okay,
so I
yeah.
know exactly what
Yeah, you can just write them right on top there.
I got a paint marker.
Okay. Yeah, so if we get that guy tacked in, or welded in solid really, and then cut this guy out, probably still ought to brace something up here temporarily. And then did you see that steel came in for the frame? It's sitting in there on a pallet.
Yeah,
This piece is here.
noticed
Once you get that out, we can kind of test fit, see how all that lines up. So what we're gonna do is start putting a couple new cross members in here, mainly to get that front one out. But once we get some more back here, then we'll take out what was still left. And we left these ones in to hold the rails steady. You got the old 6010 all figured out?
I used the pipe liner.
Oh, you ran the 8010.
I preheated it up about 200, 250.
Sweet.
Ran some passes, kept it about 400. Now it's 450 maybe.
Yeah, I think you want to stay under 400.
So I was
So,
trying to
yeah.
try my best.
All right. I don't understand that because obviously it's harder than 400 at the weld.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I
Yeah.
welded and then I let it go for a few minutes to check
Right.
it and then let it come down.
Okay.
But yeah,
Cool.
when you're welding it, it's gonna
Yeah, it's going
gonna
up.
shoot right back up.
Right. All right. Well,
It's in there.
that looks good, and I think your little C channel looks good.
Yep, I just want to make sure you were comfortable. I'm good with it.
I think it looks fine. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start hacking this out then.
We're just trying to brace this up before taking this out so that the rails don't move on us. Yeah, I think you're good to go, Rich. So these are the side rails of the trailer. And at the front, where we have kind of the ramp, we have to cut that off. Our summer help, Luke, he ran the grinder through most all of this one for me yesterday. I'm gonna try and just use a straight edge and the cutting torch here and see if we can burn through it. Let's take that guy. We'll get this kind of ready where we want it. If I screw this guy up in there, it should clear the side of the C. And I'm putting this on the good material so that you don't accidentally bump over with the torch into the good stuff. Right in there. Be the hot ticket. Alrighty, that'll work. You can So this C-channel is pretty thick. It's about a 1/2 inch web. And then we come up here. We have a 3/8 thick piece of mild steel that's going to get welded to that to make the ramp. So that's why we have a 3/8 jog here cutting across the flange. Let's do it to her. Will it break out of there? Yep. Nothing the grinder can't clean up. Alrighty, I'm gonna run a grinder over that quick, and then these are ready for blasting primer. Good enough. Let's see if we can wind this thing through. I'm going to try to get it as crooked as I possibly can, and then I don't know. I'm hoping we can get it through the door. About as narrow as we're gonna get it, I think. In the bag. All right, guys, we're just getting ready to get on with a little bit of blasting here. This should be the last of our parts for the deck. We have 2 more cross members that need to be blasted and the 2 outside rails. This is all of the high strength steel used to repair the front of the deck insert. This is ASTM A514 is what we'd call this here in the United States. I looked it up for our European friends. You guys would refer to this as an S690 or an S700, but it's a quench and tempered high strength steel. The original web and flanges are 514 on that main rails. This is of course just regular like A36 kind of mild steel, same with the cross members. But the main rails are high strength. The original web was 1/2 inch thick. This is 3/4, and these pieces are what we're going to use to repair that hole that we've cut out of there. And I haven't checked yet if my drawing of this for the burn table fits. Let's see how we did. We got a lot of gap to fill. I'm not sure how I whiffed that top dimension so hard, but that's what it should have been, and tapered out to the same here. I wonder if my model was just wrong on this front of the trailer. It had to be. It's like a different angle. That's not great. Looks like this could be a little longer too. Well, no, because the I-beam will fit in there. Basically, you're gonna have this profile, which also doesn't fit. Oh, you know what? That's supposed to be up in the air some. Part of that is the amount of, I mean, look how thinned out that is. That's crazy. This is supposed to be a 3/4, and it's so thin down here, man. Do some figuring. May just have to order these plates again. All right, well, with that, I don't know that we're going to blast those two parts. We still need all these gussets and things that we had, so it's not a total loss, but crap. I'm sure we'll end up needing this for something anyway.
The mill scale on this channel is something fierce.
Come on, Lane, let's teach these people what we've learned about paint.
Not paint.
Paint? So on the rear of the trailer, we were using Carboline 859 zinc primer, which is actually a 3-part. You have the resin, the hardener, and then the zinc powder. My salesman, Bob, hi Bob, he was watching our last video and said, that's not the right stuff. We have Carbo Weld 11, which is a weld-through primer. Well, you have to buy a large minimum of Carbo Weld 11, but they have Carbo Zinc 11, as Shaver's pointing out to us. And all you do is take it and then thin it 50% with its thinner, and you have Carbo Weld 11. So I think the key to this is you have to keep it very thin. So all we have is basically the liquid part and the zinc part, and then you take thinner 254 and you mix it 50%, which means to that gallon you put in a 1/2 gallon of thinner. I was debating on, does thin 50% mean you end up with 50-50? It does not. It means you put 50% of that in, because I was like, you can interpret this either way, and I'm not a painter, but we're learning. Shaver, you know, we're going to take the forklift to pick up the whole pallet and take it out there. Yeah, you don't have to do it one piece at a time. Oh. We have the actual correct thinners now for the clear coat and the polyurethane paint, and we have some more cheapo Amazon guns, and a little 2-quart pot is in there somewhere, I think. Shaver, leave them there. You don't need to unload. And it's gone. Yeah, let's take them back over there. That one? Yeah, perfect.
Wait.
Turn it a little bit. You're failing the puzzle. Here. There you go. Ready for the forklift?
Let's see you get up there. Can you do it?
Up and down.
Well, it's gotta be hard on the old knee. That should help you. All right, operator, fire it up. Can you start it?
Shoot.
Shoot. All right, there you go. You're the beans. Can you pick it up? Are you enough for the seat switch? All right, guys, so this time we're spraying Carbo Zinc 11 instead of Carbo Zinc 859, and this is a weldable zinc primer. We're gonna be mixing it with a lot of thinner, essentially making what they call Carbo Weld 11, which is just, it's harder to get. You have to order a minimum 25 gallons. So I'm gonna mix up 2 gallons. I got a brand new clean bucket so we can do all our mixing out here with the drill outside of the pot. Also, a few of you mentioned in the last video about the liners for the Binks pot, so I also got some liners. I think that'll be helpful. And a few people mentioned, I thought it was a really cool idea, is just putting the 1 gallon can in the pot and then putting the siphon or pickup tube into that can. And I think that's a really good idea, as long as it will clear the agitator. I mean, for just painting, when you would want to do that, I think the agitator, we could just take that off too. It really wouldn't matter. Then you wouldn't need to submerge the agitator either way and clean it. But we need the agitator with the zinc, so therefore we're just gonna run a liner. We're gonna put 2 gallons in right off the bat with 1 gallon of thinner. That's thinning at 50%. So we're gonna make up 3 gallons of solution in the bucket here. I think that's 2.9 gallon pot, so we can't even put it all in there in one shot, but we'll put it like half full and then fill it again partway through, see how far. Hopefully that gets us through everything we wanna do. I'm gonna start with the side beams on the top, and then we'll be ready to flip them, and then I'm gonna do the main trailer beam. The shorter I-beam cross members, we can do them in the paint tent, so I'm not too concerned. It's gonna rain all day tomorrow, so I wanna get these long parts done. They're gonna be stuck outside in the sea can, not very waterproof canopy. Liquid. So this is part A, there is no part B. So they call this kind of like a construction primer, as in, just like us right now, we blasted, but we don't want all this stuff to rust. So you just put it on there. The key to it is we want to end up at a 1 mil dry thickness. So I think that means, as wet as we are, we're probably going to want to put it on about 3 mils wet thickness. I do have a little gauge, a little honeycomb gauge. So I've only used this like once before, but what you do is you just take this, and we're gonna be over here on the 1 to 6 side, and basically after you paint it and it's wet, you just take this and stick it in, and then whichever one you see has paint on it, whichever one has color, you know you're between that one and the next one. So say 4 down have color on them and 5 doesn't, so it's between 4 and 5 mils thick. Now, my understanding is the percent solids is like the ratio that it will decrease as the paint dries. So if you have 50% solids paint and you measure at 4, you'll end up with 2 mil dry film thickness once it dries. So we're gonna be so thinned out. I did watch a YouTube video Carboline had on Carbo Zinc 11, and at normal ratio, where you don't put any thinner in it, they were telling you to shoot for 2 mils dry thickness and to go 4 to 5 mils to get there. So I think with us being thinned further and shooting for half the thickness, we're gonna shoot for a 3 mil wet thickness, and that should put us around that 1, I believe, while we're drying. So I'd say somewhere 2 to 3 mil wet is gonna hit us where we want. So it's gonna be quick. Like, we're not putting much down from what I can tell. Ready, and then we have the zinc itself. So again, this is all you would do if you were spraying this as regular primer. It's because we're using it as a weld-through product that we're thinning it so much. sure we get as much resin out as we can. All right, that's our gallon of thinner. Alrighty then, this is gonna be heavy. Oh yeah. So we have 29 pounds of zinc, the resin, and then a gallon of thinner in there. So these are the liners Binks has available for these pots. That guy in there. I'll pour about half this bucket. Alrighty, let's give her a whirl. So real quick before we get started here, I just want to check our dry film thickness, or our wet film thickness, I mean. Alright, so that right there, I'm gonna take this out. Push it in there. That's registering not a 1. That's registering maybe a 3. Maybe it's easier to look at what makes the mark on the thing. Oh yeah. So that's between a 2 and a 3 after we hit it with a couple passes. I think that's about right. Like a couple quick passes and you end up somewhere about a 3. A 3 wet, which should dry down to about a 1 dry mill. We're gonna tell ourselves anyway. All right, I'm gonna throw my mask on and some gloves on. We're gonna give her. So what we're going through now are all the cross members, giving them a shot of the Carbo Weld 11, Carbo Zinc 11. The problem is this stuff takes a long time to dry, and I don't want to flip them while they're soaking wet, and it's getting dark, Chels. So what I'm gonna do is just run them all inside. We can flip them here probably after it gets dark. I think our pot life's good enough. We can just leave the pot full. Paint them in the paint tent on the bottom side. We also need to flip these guys, so I'm hoping to finish all these and our 2 long side C-channel dudes be dry enough to give them a flip, because we got to hit them as well. So we got 3 more of these to do. I'm gonna pull this pallet out. We got those 3 sitting right there. Set them on the next pallet down and give them as much as we can. And like I said, we got to flip them to get the bottom side of the flange and the other side of the flange. So yeah, that's what we're doing. I've got to this point and I still haven't even taken the rest of what we mixed up in the bucket over there and put it in the pot. So when you thin it a lot and you're being very careful not to put it on too thick, because I think that's the key to this whole welding it thing, it goes a really long way. So I keep checking it with the gauge, we're somewhere in there in the sweet spot, I think. So, I don't know. We don't know what we're doing, but we're doing it. Well, the good news is, I think we're coming up on the summer solstice because we needed her all tonight. It's 9 o'clock at night and we just wrapped up. We don't have lights in the tent yet. Well, the camera makes it brighter than it is. No pocket's impressive. But that's gonna wrap it up. I gotta clean the pot out. I never did get into the rest of that primer. We have a bunch left, but being that there's no hardener with this stuff, I'm just gonna put it back in a can. I mean, it's thin and mixed with zinc, but I don't see why it won't have some amount of shelf life, so I'm gonna chuck it in one of those gallon cans and see what happens. There's our main frame all done. Our 2 side pieces. Things look a little weird right now as it's drying. Some things are turning gray and some aren't yet. This stuff seems to be very slow drying, which is honestly a good thing for the way we're doing this. Those are all the rest of the cross members. Besides the 2 that are in there, that front one's welded in. The other one's just kind of chilling, so I slid it back and forth to prime the frame. Should have taken it out first, probably. Yeah, that's a kit right there. Build your own trailer. Oh, would you just look at it? I think maybe 1 gallon would have done it. Yeah, a lot less waste, and we hadn't run out. It was still pumping. But now the pot is perfectly clean and ready to roll. That's nice. Nice start to the week. Getting the paint booth, paint tent unloaded. Get Rich back to cutting and welding. Let's stick these over here for the time being. Keep your fingers out of that. Got another cross member clamped in here. We're giving this a little bit of preheat, taking it up to 200°F, checking it with our infrared gun here. See, right now we're chilling at a nice 80. Just warming up just enough for that 514 not to crack on us. This is regular mild steel. Yeah, plenty. Don't take much. Somewhere between 200 and 400 is what we're targeting. I'm trying to hit this with the dual shield now. Well, Rich blasted till he couldn't blast no mo. We kind of blew a gasket here. I was trying to show on the compressor. All the sand, oh yeah, it destroyed that whole end of the hose. Well, we need one of those. And one of those. Look at that, it ate the whole thing out. And so basically no sand's coming out the end of the hose right now, and it sandblasted the pot and the front of the compressor nicely.
But besides that, Rich finished up almost everything before that happened. So these are all the small parts to build the ramp on the trailer. There's support underneath the ramp. That's one of the ramps itself. This is our center of the trailer piece here. That's unfortunate that that didn't get done. Oh well, we'll do it later. So over here on the trailer, we slipped in these new cross members and welded them in, then removed the one we left here and the one we left here. So I wanted to blast down here where it was covered up on the insides there. That way we'll prime that all up. So before we put that compressor away, I'm just gonna grab the big air hose, blow all the sand off of everything, and we're ready to do some priming. All right, now we want to protect where these cross members came out, so I'm just hitting these couple spots that were covered up earlier. And just like that, a few jobs for work in there, some Talbert parts in there, our shim kit, more parts for work, our new ramps, our other new ramps. I'm not 100% sure what this piece is. I have to check the order. And they're all blasted in zinc prime today. Sweet. Well, we need some more metal work. So we're back down here at Sal's shop to use the big press, and he's gonna do a little bit of lasering for us as well. This is a 175-ton brake. And now I've bought some tooling on eBay, so we don't use his good tooling to bend this thick stuff, and I'm just gonna leave it here. He just never really gets into the thicker stuff too much. So now we got him set up somewhat for that. Disconnect on, and it fires up the computer. All right, let's see if I remember how to do this, or if we have to consult my videos. Turns the pump on, and you hit ram up to lift it. Take your parking blocks out. All right, something makes it go. Gonna need to consult my video. All right, so we clicked that we're in setup mode, and now I gotta hold both these palm buttons. So that the press is now homed. Now you gotta home the back gauge. That's under maintenance diagnostics, calibrate gauges. All right, now the back gauge is homed. I gotta swap out some tooling to our big stuff and see what we can make happen. Alrighty, we got our tooling set up in here. Now we just need to load it into the control. I've already built these in. Basically, you tell the control here, like, oh, it's this size bottom die, this size punch, and then it kind of works in like an absolute mode and goes from there. Where the Amada, you bottom it out and it works from that home every time you start it up, where the Cincinnati doesn't do it that way. All right, I got it all the way down, touching the bottom. That's 9.175, so we know that ram position. Now I can bring the ram up, and we'll try to set up a program here. Let's see what we can make happen. So this is the center of the trailer here.
So this one is probably going to come out under because it's kind of too small for these dies, this bottom die. So, yeah, we were way under, about 78 degrees.
So we can stop, do an angle correction. I wonder if we, can you just type in your 78? That'd be cool. Calculate. Okay, and it'll slam your 12 in. Okay.
So it's not 100% 90, but I'm gonna call it good enough. I'm attributing that to, we're too small for this bottom die, really. That's just a support piece, like a stiffener here at the bottom. So this is where, when you back into the trailer, those guides will get welded on here. So now I'm gonna work from this end. We'll bend this bend first, then we'll bend this bend. So I'm gonna set this one up for this 79.3 degrees at 23.6 inches down, and then we'll do this one next. It's only be 10 degrees.
Ooh, quite a bit over 10. More like 15.
Undo a little. So basically what we're shooting for is a 90-degree angle between here and this one. The remainder of this angle is here. Alrighty, just slapped her back in there. We're right at 10 degrees. Sweet. Now we got our big boy ramp sections. This is where your air hoses go. I just left the hole on the other side because I figured it was easy access to clean it out. But this is 3/8 thick, 29-inch bends. It's going to take a couple tons. We're just going to bend one way and one the other. Tons on that bend. So these are the guide pieces. When you back the truck into the trailer, these help guide the neck in. You got 2 more bends to put in it. Ready? In. That's our dude.
These guys set. They have that goofy angle. Match that goofy angle. It'll weld like so. That one welds like that. So that's your guide when you're back in the truck, when you're back in the gooseneck back into the trailer. This is our whole new front piece. So that's our ramps, our new front, our guides. This is support underneath of here. That's all the parts we needed to bend today. I'm gonna pull my tooling back out and put Chris's back in so they're ready to work on Monday morning. And that is maybe the last of our bending. I doubt it. I'm sure we have more fab work to do. Oh yeah, we do on the gooseneck. Well, we need our stainless light brackets cut out for the back end of the Talbert here, so giving Sal's laser a little workout with some 11 gauge stainless this morning. Got to rebuild it real quick. Man, new tips for us.
Yeah.
Only the best.
Exactly.
So this is a 1,000-watt fiber laser. Sometimes they have enclosures. This one doesn't, so you got to be careful and wear some glasses so you don't hurt your eyes. So this is just burning off the paper, right?
You just trying one of these off the bat then? You just trying one of these?
Yeah.
It's our mud flap bracket holder 9000. Oh, that's gonna be sweet.
It's gonna look nice.
Oh, that's sweet. I was gonna cut out some like white plastic, put behind there.
I think that looks good.
Oh, that's all right. That's our one rear tail light bracket. That's nice. You don't have to even beat it out of there like a plasma cutter. You don't even have to hammer it out of there.
Nope, it just comes right out. It's so nice.
This is our laser operator Ty. Thanks, Ty.
No problem.
Rich has most all the cross members tied in. Basically all the welding from the tops in. We're gonna lean it up on its side to weld out the sides. But it's time to check out the main frame repair package. And I kind of whiffed a little on my angle here. We got a monster gap we're gonna have to fill, but we'll just build up a bevel and then leave a gap at the bottom too. Yeah, because it was intended on an 1/8 inch gap at the bottom. So if that will go,
It'll go up.
I guess.
Yeah.
What's it? Is it running in the back of that pin?
It's hitting this, so it's just overlapping like about a 1/2 inch here,
Oh geez.
and this is roughly a 1/2 inch here. This nub.
I wonder if you just torch cut, just cut the plate back here,
Okay.
or we.
It's about like 1/8 to 1/4 down, about
Okay.
where I had.
I wish I'd have matched this shape a little better. We need a ferro arm. I never apparently checked the dimension from here to here because that is where most of the air is. Whoopsies.
Make it work.
Morning, Rich. Yeah, once you get this side cleaned up and tacked in, then we'll just sit it. Well, we got to put that cross member in there too.
Yeah.
Tack it in, and then we'll stand it up on its side, and you could just go to town. Alrighty, sir. So it's just another time over again now. It was a little windy this morning out here in the Secan shed, so we're gonna move the trailer in the shop because with this dual shield, it can't handle much wind. Basically, just like MIG welding, you need your shielding gas and fighting porosity when it's windy out. So gonna get them moved in there at least for today, and we'll see what tomorrow brings, because I like it being out here with all the smoke and everything, but you gotta be able to weld.
We're good.
The old clamps pull that right in. Get her tacked up. We're just taking this between 200 and 400 degrees. Really doesn't take a lot. $250. Give her. Put a yoda on each end. Straighten, both of you have your wheels about 90 degrees. Keep going, Bo. Keep going. Yep. There you go. Lean it forward, because just let it come all the way until you're going to be pushing on it. I'm just saying you're going to slide under it. Good. I'd lower it down some more. Be less of a crash. Go ahead and raise it down. There's been fighting a little bit of porosity in there. Getting this front plate all welded out. If we pick it up and get the stands out and just put wood on the floor to protect the floor,
Let it toss over.
well, it's gonna be, yeah, I guess we'll just go this way. It'd be easier to come upside down with the way the beams are. Yeah,
Yeah, you know.
what could go wrong? I think the solution is always to get another forklift. All right, I gotta leave room for the cross member to come at me. Go ahead and let off her there, guys. Go down? Yeah. You wanna pull yours off, Rich? All right, just go lower it down a bunch. You might as well get off it too. I guess let's line these blocks up so that when we start lifting it again, these aren't hitting the floor. Because now we're just going to take those two forklifts and lift it again. The 3 forklift trifecta of flippingness. slag.
Sandblaster.
Yeah. You guys are working hard today. Lazy Sunday. So one of the next problems we need to deal with on the deck insert is how do we put the outriggers back on the outside of the rails? Now an outrigger is this guy right here in the context of a lowboy trailer. And what an outrigger does is it allows you to carry wider loads than the trailer by flipping these out from the side and putting a board across them to support the tracks or tires or whatever from falling off or sagging off the side of the trailer if you're not entirely wider than the trailer. These aren't really strong enough to carry the full weight of the load. They're generally intended, say you have like a 400 excavator and the tracks are too wide and they would like fold over the deck. You fold these guys out and they'll support enough to keep the pads horizontal and not make everything wonky and destroy the side of your trailer and be hard on the undercarriage of your machine as well. So it's kind of a safety thing. It's also a sticking point. Some guys hate them. Some guys refuse to use them. They'll just put an inch of the machine on the trailer. I probably tend to lean more towards that side. I hate dealing with them myself. I considered not putting them back on, but we're going to put it back on. So the way this was held on, we have this piece at the top. It welds in to the channel. And then at the bottom, you have these two pieces. They weld on. And then this bolt is removable. That way you can take the outrigger out of the trailer like this. So you can weld all that and then put this in there. It's not permanently trapped. So what I've done is drawn these parts up. And I had Ben here at work 3D print them for me. He has a real nice 3D printer at home. So he 3D printed all these parts so that we could try them before we had to commit to getting them cut and making them ourselves. So what I was able to do here is I fixed the radius by default. I had this radius a little bit too small. This is actually the second version of this being printed. And fix that up. I'm happy with everything there. Before they also had a spring lock that you would just click this over and it would hold it. Didn't work very well. So Fontaine does it this way where it actually will sit down. This is the top side. So it'll sit down into this lock and it can't go any further than that. And then when you want to take it out, you'll lift it, swing it out, and then lower it back down and that will hold it in those tabs like so. So those are the changes we made to making that vertically lift. So if you're asking yourself, well, how do we go from a part like this with this weird radius to it to an actual steel metal part? Well, I was kind of in for the same question. Now, I've seen this done online, but I've never tried it, and I'll show you what I did. So we have this custom, I think it's 1.75 inch radius, and it'll fit in there, and this will go in the press brake. Now, this is just 1/4 inch, and this is laser cut out of just regular mild steel. So I got 6 of them cut out, and we're just going to line these up, put a couple bolts through them to hold them in position, and then this will clip right in the press brake. Our press brake here is an Amada, which uses European style tooling. It's kind of uncommon to see that here in the US. Like Sal Cincinnati uses American style tooling, which just puts a 1/2 inch tang centered over the middle of the punch. So I don't know, I don't really care. This one I think will still work. We'll make sure it works here. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever tried this. I've seen people do this. I've seen people take them and just put beads of weld down this as well. I think once we push this into the press one time, it's going to kind of seat itself where it wants to be. I honestly don't even know how necessary these bolts are. So then for the bottom part, the die, we have the same thing. I drew this up, it's laminated. And so we have our punch and die. We also had to bump this up to 3/8 thick. I caught that at the very end, checking it versus the original outside. I had originally drawn it at 1/4, but it is 3/8 thick. So this is our 3/8 thick blank. This is our laminated 1/4 inch press brake tooling. Let's see if we can turn this guy into this guy. Like I said, this is out of alignment. Once we put it in the press and bottom them out together to set it, it'll push it down where it needs to go. Well, I like it. That looks like official tooling. Almost like what you get when you buy it from Wilson. That's what we're gonna have. That, smashing that into that. So our bottom die, our 3/8 thick part, and our punch. Let's see what happens. You want to work in the middle of this machine because it's an up acting. Basically, there's just 2 guides in there that are taking the force of centering. It's not like a down acting press with a cylinder on each side. So it's very crucial on these to keep them centered. Now, we can only be so centered because this is the middle. So we'll put her there. Put this into our quick change holder. Like that. And then we'll line that up. And that's really all there is. When we home this thing, we'll bottom these 2 out. to get to the tonnage the little line says, and that's home. And then essentially 3/8 up would be fully bent. So we'll start with, let's say, 400 thousandths up for a little extra room. And the reason that I didn't go all the way to 180 on this is so that we can get the part back out of the die. And there's 2 up. Oh, the stop was made for us. So we'll set the depth to 400. Home the back gauge. Need to move the back gauge over to where we can use it. All right, and we're gonna set the back gauge. All we need to do is set it at half the length of this part so that it puts us in the middle. We're 5 1/8, so that'd be 2 9/16. I don't normally run this thing manual this way, but we might as well. All right, let's try her. We should go to 0.4. Stop. All right, first one. Let's see what happens. Oh, would you just look at it? Let's go see how it fits. How did we line up with our printed one? Oh yeah, it sprung back a lot. Really doesn't matter too much either though. If it's looser, it'll be tighter, if that makes any sense. If the angle's bigger, it'll be tighter on the outrigger. I think it's gonna work out nice because you actually have a pretty good gap to fill in with weld. I think we need to get it a little tighter though. I think, no, I guess it's not touching. Actually, I don't know if there's any reason not to just leave well enough alone right there. Might want to tack one together. I got a few extra parts. Oh yeah, we can get that out of there without touching it. I think this actually might be perfect. Let's roll with it. So these little guys are what go on the bottom. I'm thinking we might want to make some sort of a fixture to help us weld all this. Even if we route it out of plastic or something that we'd drop in, go up there and come out with like a finger maybe to keep this all square. Just tack that in there quick. Yeah, real quick. Hello, Mr. George. Alrighty, that's tacked in there quick. That fits, that doesn't fall out. This is how you'd see it on the trailer. Flip it out, let her fall in. I think we might want to tighten up how we're welding the bottom, guys. Let her fall in. Awesome. So I really like not having any amount of a separate lock to deal with on this, but the only downside I think is this. Ding, ding, ding. It's probably going to sound like that, you know, at times when you're rattling, but I don't know, the D-rings and everything else are going to rattle too, so it is what it is. If we hate it that much, you could always just jam something in there or add the clip after the fact. It's not impossible. So our next step of welding on the outrigger brackets, I wanted a better way to align the upper weld-on little horseshoe with the lower two pieces that go on. So we're going to route out a little jig out of plastic to hopefully make this easier. And go. Turn the vacuum on.
She's holding down all right. Give her the beans. Thank you. So we leave that little skin and then we just trace that with this tracer bit. That way these parts don't jump out of there on the router table. So having the upper outrigger mount in now, we can put our little trident thing, and it's kind of tight-ish. So the reason I wanted to make this fixture is that allows us to tack these two bottom of the outrigger brackets on in line with the upper outrigger bracket here. This is all still dual shield, but now we're not using the 110, we're just using a ER 711, I think it is, Fabco. So it's more like an ER 70 hardwire. We're not preheating any of this. This is all just mild steel, so it makes life a lot easier. I still really like the dual shield. Having the flux core, it burns through everything just a lot nicer. I'm a fan. So this thing's ready to go. Maybe I'll just put 2 screws right through here into this plastic to double this up. And then, like I said, we'll just put a little clamp right there. Get that tacked, and then we can pull that out of the way. Once it's tacked, that'll come out of there, and finish welding these out for the outriggers. So these extra supports kind of help the top from wanting to buckle over from the weight of the machine, and then the outriggers can still fold up into there. Well, the time has come for the outside rails to go on. We have all the extra supports, the outrigger brackets, and the D-rings pre-welded on these while we could move them around. So I'm going to stand that up on the forks and hold it in here. And we kind of got to fit this front ramp up here as well. It'll rest on the top of that outside C-channel. We did cut these into 3 pieces, that way we can match the arch of the trailer, and we'll just weld them back together. We're just touching up a few areas in the back and get this held up in there and see how she looks. We had a little measuring mess up when we centered this. I think I was measuring off the thick and Rich was on the thin, or vice versa, but that was shifted over. And we sliced the difference off of this side because we're kind of committed on this welding. Measure twice, weld once. We're gonna have to fill that gap. As you can see, the rest of them are all in line. I'm gonna set the ramp in there now. I think this may trick. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Like,
Well, that will come. I think you need to take a bigger whack out of that myself.
yeah.
Getting that ramp to fit along all this contour might be a bit of a challenge. Right now it's hitting the back of that pin on that lug. We'll get her. And we're gonna have a decent gap. We might have to weld a chunk back into this where that ramp comes to. We just threw this other pipe stand under there that'll allow us to kind of level this out. We got that one and the forklift kind of level, and not level, but what I'm shooting for there is making it pretty close to even on the bottom of the cross members. And that kind of comes from ordering 2-inch thick wood. It'll stick a little bit above that outside rail. It's coming to life. Throwing a couple tacks on that piece just to hold it for now. So we're liking how this is all sitting right now. It's Just gave that a little tack now that corner's off. That'll all work. We'll put a vertical stiffener in right there and then we can fill that gap. One thing we just realized is we still got to put this vertical stiffener in the whole way down. We ran out of material on that, but we have it. So I'm just going to rip that one tack out and Rich can weld that in before this is in the way. So that bar is holding that where it wants to go. Little tack here. Oh, this is looking happy. Using that bar that gets welded in along here. That's supporting that height. So at that point I'm going to tack this side. This pipe stand's holding it, so I'm going to put a nice little tack right there. And a little tack right there. So I'm going to put a series of these stiffeners in here. We'll just cut them down, put a couple of them in here. That'll help us fill that gap and we'll fill that whole thing up with weld. That's all tacked. I think we'll end up putting some sort of a backer here, some of that extra bar stock. We'll just lay in behind that, fill that in with weld. Bringing in the middle guy. Go ahead up, Rich. Whoopsies. So welding all this stuff, put a bit of a bow in this, as you can see. So what we're doing is welding that one in somewhat, and then we're going to take the bar clamp and pull it here. So between using that bar clamp and the pipe stand here, got all that stuff nice and even. We're just going to throw a couple little welds on that to hold it. I got these little dog bone parts burnt out. That's going to be our backer. We're going to use that to tie these together. So what I did is I clamped it in, we tacked on that dog bone and then let it out, and it came out right to where we needed it. Now he's tacking the dog bone to the front piece. And really at this point, the only thing left is we need to throw a little more weld here so that we can throw a clamp and pull this in, because this one has a little bit of bow as well. So while we're welding these guys on, we're combating the curve in them with these bar clamps. So I kind of start at the front. I'm measuring on 33 3/8 from the frame to the outside here. And so I set that one, and then I get this one on the right spot, so it's pretty easy at that point. You're only tacked over here. Weld this one at 33 3/8. And then when you get down to this one, because of that bow now, and you've been straight there, this thing's starting to curve out. So I just throw this bar clamp on there and suck it back in. And that way we maintain this straightness. And it worked pretty well on the other side where Rich and I did it this morning. Let's see how we were able to kind of maintain straightness there. Pulling in with a bar clamp. He's gone ahead and made a couple passes on everything now, on basically easy vertical welds. We're going to stand this thing up on its side the same way we welded the cross members in to weld everything out inside there. So I'm just trying to get this all tacked tonight. I'm not going to be here first thing in the morning with Rich, so this will all be kind of started for him. He'll take that center and cut off 3/8 on each side to give us that nice gap to weld up. It's sitting over there, so he can cut that down, and it's easy to tack that one up because it can't really go anywhere. You just put it in there, line up your ends, and same thing, you can use the bar clamp and work your way down. All right, so 33 3/8, so give it just a little bit more. Here we go. The bottom's pulled in a little tight, so I think I'll just tack the top and then we'll relax the bottom. It should come back into square. Right on to money. Alright. Slip the pipe stands out. Look at that. She's looking like a trailer. That's exciting. It's a very productive day for the old girl. I think by the end of tomorrow, it's really going to look like a deck insert, because I think we might even be able to tack in the center front where it connects to the neck. This morning we're working on tacking up this whole front centerpiece, so that sets all the way down into the front cross member. And then this guy clamps in underneath here. And we're just kind of verifying that everything's centered. Welded a piece of heavy wall tube in there. That's where the pin drops in to lock the neck on. But we need this to be centered in the rails. We need this to be level. And this to be in the correct location up and down, which was intended to kind of sit at the top of that rails level, which is pretty close to where we're at. I think we're ready to tack her in there. All right, that's all tacked in. We tacked that dude in. Now these little filler pieces, they need a little trimmings, but that's what makes that happening. Whoop, too much. Just kind of set inside. Yeah, we're kind of set inside. That little weld. Rich loves filling the crack of dawn for
I
me.
have a way to make that not fall in there.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
All right, so maybe a few more tacks. I don't want to get too carried away before we take this and try it with the gooseneck, honestly, to make sure we didn't whiff.
Yeah. Little test fit.
Yeah. These guys, that's what guides you in while you're hooking up. I had them all marked out, but I think they just want to sit right in that chalk. And then there's another hold down piece. Now that one I whiffed. We're gonna have to make a new one of those. We have that 3.5-inch bar. I think we're just have to hand cut something because that is.
Yeah, I can just soapstone a line around this.
I think the radius and everything is good. I think it needs to live like what I here. Look
A little above the.
like a. No, it needs to be like up here.
Okay.
Like the problem is it needs that. I don't know if we can get the gooseneck in here. We probably can. Bring the gooseneck all the way into it. Just try it right here where it sits. So before we get too carried away, taking the neck and seeing if it will fit. So we got to test the hole size there. We haven't put that on anything. And will our alignment guides line up? You want to point that in this general direction for me? Thank you.
Still recording?
Yeah.
Up a little. Up a little.
Look out.
You're good.
So we need air on this valve. I think we want to get like really close. Side chip.
Rub it on this side here.
Do I need to back up?
Oh, you're good. You're in.
That's an elevated low boy right there. No high boy.
The high-low boy.
So we didn't do too bad on that guide then, huh?
No.
If you hold this, I think we messed this piece up pretty bad. That little tang on the back of the gooseneck, this guy holds down on it. And this is gonna work. I didn't think my part was gonna work, but it's good enough. It's a 1/4 inch lower than that. And then we're gonna nip those tangs off so it doesn't look dumb. Yeah, I like it. So if we pull, can you pull that out of there, Bo? I can't really reach from here. Yeah, it just pulls out and then so that pull it backwards a little. Yep. That's that, and then we're gonna unlock this. It pulls the lock cylinder out. That cylinder's got a pretty healthy leak to her. It's nice. We flipped her up the other way just to weld on the inside of this and, you know, everything from this side now. Everything's finished, as you can see there. Have to get up on a ladder, finish welding out that guy. I was welding along, things were going well, and then the gun kind of crapped out. These Yes Welder tips, I feel they leave a lot to be desired as far as how loose they are, and the little adapter thing they screw into, it died, more or less, we'll say. So fortunately at home I had some more parts because I'd ordered more here, and they won't be here till Monday, but I had enough, I think, to finish this job for us at home, contact tips and everything. The Miller contact tips, I had a few 045 Miller ones. They look a lot nicer, so I think maybe we're gonna need to buy some better components. I like the gun. The Yes Welder gun works well, but their contact tips and everything are just so loose fit and everything. But how do you guys like our double forklift security here? I was able to, this is as high as the little Yoda goes. That's all the higher the forks are, but at least now you won't smack your head, because I'm gonna throw some new parts at our gun and keep on going. I think this is gonna be a late night. This is a Friday night. We're gonna fire up the JBL, crank up some Aussie. Rest in peace this week, Aussie. Well, last night turned into a bit of a debacle. I ran out of the 045 tips. Fortunately, Rural King had 3 packs in stock, so I grabbed them this morning. I even tried drilling out 035 tips last night. That doesn't work. Let's get back to welding. This is gonna be our quick and dirty little mounting bracket to hold the electrical connector and the 2 airlines at the back of the deck where it makes the modular connection to the bogey section. Well, it's beautiful. We cover up all the scars with the light plug. There's 2 bulkhead fittings will go in the bottom. And I think that'll work. Basically, those gussets that we're welding on the frame rail to the cross member are these guys, and I had a few extras, so just did a little torching and drilling to modify one of these because I didn't order an actual part for it. But that's why having a burn table in the shop would be nice. All we got left are 2 inside of the cross members down here at the bottom. We got a few more gussets to put in as well. Right now we're working on welding these gussets in. They go right here on each side, on both sides, all the way down, so there's like 36 of them. Like I just tacked that one up. Just tack, weld the bottom. When we have it back level, we'll weld this bottom. When we have it upside down, we'll weld that bottom. Just doing all in position what we can. So I'm just centering that and making it square by using the magnet here on the bottom. That, and then just checking her with this square that way. That's working out. The reason it has a hole in it is this particular one will have the power and air lines running through it. We'll put a grommet in there. I think I probably need to make up some more of those chain links and weld on a chain on, you know, coming through here so that we can zip tie that off halfway in between. I think we'll make that nice and neat. We also need to drill some holes so the air lines come from the neck, come through this hole. It used to go through the main frame rail. I think I'm going to change it and come through a couple of the cross members. That'll get past the chain boxes where you're throwing chains in. You won't have the lines right here to worry about catching. So I think we'll come all the way back to here and then put a hole in the main rail somewhere in this area and jump in. We also need a junction box here for the marker lights on the deck. And then we'll run to the back. And we killed a spool. I think that is the 3rd one of these we've gone through, maybe. So welding all this mild steel, we're running this Hobart Fabco 711M. It's still a dual shield flux core. We're shielding with C25, but it has a lot faster deposition rate than hardwire. And also it seems to get through the zinc coating and kind of like your little crap everywhere a lot better. I really like it. After running dual shield on this project, it's really kind of opened my eyes to using it on a lot more things. I really like it. I have 2 more 33-pound spools. Don't think we're really going to need all that much more, but let's throw one in and get going. Cut off the end here. Drive rail up. And feed it through. Everything is so hot on this gun right now. There should be. We're gonna back it up and then lay it down upside down now. That went well. It doesn't like you jumping off with the parking brake off, but I needed it to ghost right back with us. And now we'll give her a push. Raise it down. I was going to put it up on the sawhorses, but for everything we're doing, I think it's easier to just reach down in there than be climbing up over top of it. Getting set up to weld in the second support on the ramp here. Once that's welded in, this cover will drop right over. Weld in here, weld this front gap up, and it'll tie in right there on the main rail. And then just kind of strengthens everything up as much as possible for running big equipment up over that ramp. So we'll get that one and then do that side. It's hot. We're getting there. So we got that front tied in. This L bracket went in there. I'm not sure if I said that earlier. And this whole side welded out the same way with those 2 supports. And then that guy there. And I went under and welded those gussets. All 36 of them have been welded now on the top side. We flip this thing the right way up, we got to weld the bottoms yet. And I welded in all the C channels here. I think the connections. We have our backing plate, but we've also fully welded those, so that should be all as strong as the channel. I guess next I'm going to cut out this piece of C-channel. I want to drop down in there to set buckets on. And a little bit of grinding on some of those connections and up front there. And I think we're ready to flip.
Like a glove. Grind that little nubbins off. Ta-da! Yeah, that'll do the trick.
This is 1/2 inch thick, and obviously it's C-channel, so I think that'll do the trick. All right, after getting these few things on the front buttoned up and the rear buttoned up, I think we're ready to flip it down the right way. And that should be the last step here for welding, is to weld out all our little gussets and basically that thing on the back, the boom support. So I was able to reach in here, like some of this, I was able to tie it in a lot better. Actually give it the old reach around to get inside, just tie that on so this plate's more supported and these are more supported. I also took some of those extra pieces of 1/4 inch gussets and used that to tie this piece into that front cross member. I was able to slide that back in there, and I did that with the center support, basically the one that's in the middle on each side. So this is all tied back in. This is all finished, tied together. I'm gonna take the grinder, buff out these a little bit just so those eyes will fit straight on the front. Yeah, that's all that stuff. Back here at the back, our gussets, I tied them in all the way around. It's actually a lot easier to weld overhead with this wire than it is to weld vertical. Now I will tell you, I definitely made a little bonehead move here. I was telling myself I was going that way because machines like the 170 actually don't have the boom in the center because they're kind of small conventional machines. They push the boom away from the cab. So that means the boom is off to the right of the machine, which as it sits on the trailer would be that way. I thought I was cheating it the way to help that, but I was looking at it upside down. Whoopsies, it was hot. I blame the heat. We're still out past where it was. What I was looking at was where the airlines come through from the modular connection and connect up here. I was like, oh, we'll just give it a little more room away from that oval, but oh well, these things happen. Once I lay it down flat, we'll just come slam a bunch of weld in all this here, and I think that'll be good. That'll be a lot nicer than the I-beam that used to be there that got the flanges all bent down. Better place for C-channel, I feel.
feels maybe slightly less scary each time. I don't know. Another day, another trailer project. We've got our new mesh here to put in a chain bin. I'm gonna put one chain bin here and two in the front. I really don't like to put too many of these because they hold dirt and basically will wipe out your frame rail. As you can see, what some things happen there already. These are 48 by 48. I think we can get 2 boxes out of one sheet. We do 24, that will sit inside of that. Then we can do whatever width we want to. Again, we can't go super too wide. I think 30 would work. So 24 by 30 is what we want to make these. Let's mark it out. Perfect. Cut a couple more and weld them in. One of the last things to weld on the trailer are the grouser bars at the front so that dozers and other things have traction coming up on that steel. So I'm just cutting 3/4 inch square mild steel and we're gonna weld that on the front. There we go. Safety squint. We got clippings. Clippings on the road. Good enough. Suit her up and weld her up. Popping the holes in this first cross member for the bulkhead fittings for the airlines, and then we're gonna drill a hole where the electric cord can run through as well. Got the grouser bars wrapped up. Punch those 3 holes there for the airlines and electric. And then we're gonna come run down these 2 holes, then these 3 holes will jump us to the center, and we'll continue to run down the middle. There's gonna be a junction box there. So I punched all these holes in the side to run our marker light wires through, and I drilled 3/4 holes with the mag drill for the wires to run out to the marker lights. We'll drill the little holes later, mainly because we're running out of time. So I'm gonna grab a quick lunch, and then we'll get to start blasting. Hi, Beam. Well, I guess we'll call this our big reveal. Need 2 drivers. Nothing to it. So you may be asking yourself, Sam, didn't we just sandblast this thing already? And the answer is yes. But I want to hit all the welds and all the other things like that. So this has all been blasted and zinc primed, everything that's green. And that's probably all in this one video that's maybe seeming never ending by now. It seemed never ending in real life because you're probably going to see like, I don't know, at least 2 months of work in one film. But we're going to come in like all these brackets, D-rings, you know, our outrigger brackets. This back pieces of crossmember that we had to piece in there at the very end, they haven't been blasted yet. All these have been blasted, of course. Our little gussets have not, so we'll hit those. And just kind of like little things here and there, like all these welds that tied it together. Anything that we can hit, I want to hit, and we're just going to spot zinc prime all those areas on top of this zinc primer. When it's flipped over, we'll go ahead and get all those gussets and all that kind of thing. Up here, the grouser bars, yes, they probably don't matter much when you're running over this with a D8 anyway. But like our hitch plate here, I ran out of sand or something when we were doing this. Sandblaster broke. I think that's when the couplings went out of the Sandblaster. This didn't get blasted and primed, unfortunately, because some of that's impossible / hard to get to from the bottom now, because there's a plate here underneath. Oh well, whatever, I'll shut up. We're gonna blast and prime that whole plate. Some of these welds, same thing over here, just a little bit. One thing I thought was interesting is Tap Magic is the cutting oil I was using drilling these. It just wrecked this zinc coating. So yeah, obviously the zinc coating is not meant to be any amount of chemical resistant, and I don't know what about the Tap Magic. Maybe it's just oil, I don't know, but not happy, Bob. We also have all the gussets on the inside. I'll have to get up on top to do them. But trying to keep this from becoming like the sandblasting channel. We'll catch you guys once we got some work done. Now we'll blast the bottom. All right, you can't drink enough water today, I can tell you that. It is burning. That is what we're calling good enough. Kind of hit all the spots that weren't zinc primered. Well, most of them, not all of them. A lot of them, a good percentage. All our welds, yada yada. I'm gonna mix up some more zinc primer here after I drink a gallon of water and put the air compressor away, I suppose. Mix up our zinc primer. The zinc primer is really, really hard on paint equipment is what I've learned. Like, we clogged up our fluid hose from the pot. It's really hard to clean out the pot. I'm just gonna mix up the whole gallon, use our oldest in use Amazon quart paint gun, and I'm not even cleaning it. It's going in the dumpster at the end of this because that zinc primer just wrecks everything you touch. It gets stuck in there and it's not worth it. A $40 paint gun. One last hurrah. We'll take it off of the paint pot, what we've been spraying paint with, put it on an old quart thing, use it, and we'll put a new one on there for priming. We're back to the 3-part 859 zinc primer, and that's really because that's what I had. It's our last gallon of zinc primer for this project, so we're gonna use it. That's the hardener. This is what we used on the rear end. I'll let the mixer ride against it like a little vibrating action. The sifting screen works good, but that was on a 5-gallon bucket. Alrighty. So a little shot of thinner 33 seems to be the hot ticket for running this. I mean, it's a hot day too. The destruction said 33 on a hot day. I said, we got that. I just shook this up. So far, I don't think running this through a regular paint gun is really that bad of a thing. I'm just putting about that much. A little more wouldn't hurt it. It dries so fast. So I'm pretty sure thinner 33 is mineral spirits. It sure smells like it. This thing is way more comfortable than a respirator today. See how fast that dries? I mean, it is like almost instant. Wow. I'll show you how I'm doing the old hillbilly flip. Not sketchy. That was an opportune time for the tank to run out. Got it. Hillbilly flop. So I'm not going to get under it on the forklift, but I am going to spray as much as I can because this height's a lot more convenient. I think we need to take some of those horses and just saw the legs off, make a shorter set. Run out just the right time. We done. And just like the paint can, that's how we clean that up. Last night I got epoxy primer on the top and sides of the deck, pretty much everything you could get to from up top here. We're gonna flip it, and I got a gallon of epoxy left we're gonna use up on the bottom, and which basically equates to up inside of all this, as you can see over there on the main rail. And then after that, we should be ready for paint. A couple of these welds I thought needed buffed out a little bit after I got primer on them, make them not look so bad. So we're gonna get her flipped over and get to painting. We're quickly running out of light tonight. I think I might move the beam and the neck out of the way
and set it over there where we have the lights. Well, by the dim glow of a shrouded campfire. How many of you know that movie? One of my mom's favorites right there. We have her all finished in primer, ready for paint. I'm gonna pick it up with a forklift and set it back in the old paint tent for the night before all the dew falls. I don't think it really matters. I can't believe how fast it's all drying. I mean, it's, you know, dry. Carboline says 45 minutes to top coat at 75 degrees. It's still probably 85 degrees here. Just humid as could be. Cut the air like a knife. I'm not sure what PPG says on theirs, but it's dry too. So what we had going on here is I ran out of the Carboline red epoxy primer and I was about a gallon short, so I quickly mixed up a gallon of PPG gray that we had, dumped it right on top of the gallon can and kept on trucking, and so far I'm not seeing any ill effects of that. Hopefully nothing catastrophic happens. Hopefully epoxy primer's epoxy primer. This is way thinner and lays down a lot smoother than this super heavy duty Carboline epoxy primer. So I can tell you they're definitely not the same, but I don't know. So far everything looks happy. I think it'll be all right. We did paint the back with this and put the polyurethane from Carboline on top of it, and it's been just fine. But it's about 10:30 now. Finished cleaning up. I'm gonna set this over there and I'm going home and go to bed. All right, guys, we're gonna paint the bottom of the trailer here this morning. Just mixing up some more safety red and making a mess. Whoopsies. And there she is. The underside is a lot of red. You can see kind of like up in there. That's where it's light right now. So once we get it turned over, those are the big places. So basically the underneath of the tops are what we were focusing on while I was upside down. And I was just laying her in there. See, we've got some runs we'll scrape off, but it doesn't rust under a run. I'm kind of at the point of not too concerned what this ultimately finishes like. It's gonna get the crap beat out of it. I want the outsides to look good. Of course we want it to look good, but it's not gonna look good for long anyway. We want it protected. Alrighty guys, we're all prepped up, ready for our last coat of red on the top. Really the first coat and last coat of red on the top. I just sanded off some of the runs / cut them off with my knife because I got a little carried away. Some of these areas coming up from the bottom when it was flipped over, but a lot of it's hidden anyway. Like, you know, there's some runs in there, but you're gonna have that. So I'm gonna mix up some paint and get painting. I'm wearing my Sunday's best red painting attire. I think this is the last go for these boots. They are shot and killing my feet, and I've kind of been keeping them going here for this project. I already cracked open a pair of new ones. These ones are going in the dumpster after today. Well, you guys like my painting outfit? I gave it the shorts package. I think we got our money's worth out of this. And that's a wrap on the red painting on the main trailer deck. I was thinking we were all done. Not true. We have the fourth axle in the flip box. I would like to blast and paint, but that's gonna be a kind of whenever. I think maybe I'll set Rich loose on blasting them this week. I don't know if you guys recognize that trailer, but that's Matt, Diesel Creek Matt's Lowboy that he bought off of Gino, I don't know, 6 months ago. Kept saying he was gonna work on it. It's here now. Now it's our problem. So I don't know that I'm really gonna cover it. Maybe a little bit here and there you'll see it, but we're gonna be doing a lot of welding, blast and paint. Not near what this trailer needed. I should say, even if it needs it, I say go to Ritchie Brothers before we do this again. Well, that's where we're gonna knock this video off at. All the painting's complete. We still have the wood to put in, have to do some wiring and the airlines. Frank and Kim, they're coming over this week for the National Pike Show. They're gonna help me get this trailer buttoned up and we're gonna put it all to use. The final video on this trailer, I wanna show kind of the final assembly, use it a little bit, talk about what did this project cost. I haven't added that up yet. Would I do it again?
Probably not, definitely not if it wasn't for YouTube and you guys watching. So there's still one more video to come on this trailer. I really appreciate you guys watching. I never thought that this project would have as much interest as it's gotten. And because of that, we've been able to redo this trailer and make it very nice. So thank you for watching. Catch you on the next one. What did you find, Yogi?